Welcome to the Streets Won't Forget podcast. We're back just in time for the World Cup, the greatest stage of them all. We're here. We're going to be doing a preview, predictions, talking all about it, the World Cup. That's where we started and that's where we are today. Please like, share, subscribe, repost, all that good stuff. I'm Dodzi, your host, and today joined by Louis and Ralph, and should have Keelan on the way as well at some point, hopefully. So, you know what? World Cup in America this year, it's a bit of a weird one. People saying they can't quite get into it at the moment. I've been getting into it a little bit last couple of days. I watched the England documentary on YouTube, which is quite good. You know, go through a bit of behind the scenes on Tuchel and the squad. It was all right. It was a bit anticlimactic, but it was all right. But I want to know how you guys are feeling for this World Cup in America. I mean, the first thing that I think is the time zones are a bit long. So it's not going to be like Saudi where you had 12 o'clock. Well, no, at 10 o'clock you had Saudi against Argentina. You had, I don't know what else you had that day, but I remember you had 4 games in the group stage at one point. It was unbelievable. You could just sit at home all day and watch the football. But Lou, come to you first.
Yeah.
2026 World Cup in America. America, the
Uh-huh. The land of the free, the home of the brave.
Yeah. But will it deliver? And Canada and Mexico, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, how are you feeling going into this World Cup, like in terms of excitement levels? It feels like only the other day when the season finished. It's no
Yeah.
break. There's no break from football.
Yeah, there's no break from football. To be honest with you, the World Cup is my favourite time of any given year that it's on. Like there's so many things that could happen in that year that could be awful. Which there has been this year, to be fair, but the World Cup's always like something to look forward to, something to not worry about anything else when you're watching any of the games. But yeah, I mean, in any other normal year, I would love America hosting it because they are very good at hosting events. They know how to make things pop. They know how to get the hype going for things. I think the problem is there's so much political stuff. We obviously won't get into that, but you just know Trump's going to make everything about himself at any given occasion, which is going to be annoying. Very happy for Mexico because I mean I've been there. It's such a footballing country. Like they are absolutely obsessed with football, and the game's going in Canada as well, man. And they've got a fairly decent team as well to back it up. I think. I mean, I've watched a lot of stuff of some of the US players, and actually a lot of them spoke really really well and basically said, I think this World Cup's going to prove that we have a lot more in common than we think, and everything that's going on in the world, let's forget about it. And it's not the players' fault, it's not the fans' fault, it's not the people's fault with everything that's going on. But you're right, the time zones are annoying as well. Um, but yeah, man, I think 3 countries is too much. I think if it was just the US or just Mexico or just Canada, it would be great. But it's so difficult for the fans, so difficult for the players. I know a couple of lads going out and they're having to spend just so much money, not even just on tickets, but like you got to fly to New York and then you got to get to Houston and then you got to get to Mexico City. It's just I think we've got a game in LA as well. I mean, these are like I think when they worked it out, they've got to travel like 8,000 kilometers if England make it to the quarterfinals, which is just crazy. Um, but yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. I also think England have a really really good chance as well. I like the more I think about the squad, the more I like the squad. So I'm really really happy. I was in Netherlands this weekend talking to some of the Dutch boys about it, and they were saying they're quite excited as well, and kind of have the same thoughts as we do about. Look, you'd rather the World Cup be in Europe, of course you would. We're European, or just somewhere with a decent footballing culture. But I think we also have to appreciate that we're grown men now, so this could be the best World Cup ever, but it still wouldn't feel like 2010 or 2014 to us because that was when we were kids. Um, so I think we just got to enjoy the football, block everything else out. Hopefully England bring it home. Hopefully I can be entertained. Um, yeah, man, let's go.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of it all. I mean, you segued nicely into England there, and Ralph, you've got the England top on. When the squad came out, um, it was a massive, massive uproar from the fans in terms of the players left out. No Cole Palmer, no Gibbs White, no, I mean, Jared Bowen, no loads of players who you could say, should have been there. Phil Foden, Harry
Maguire.
Maguire, so many players left out. Tuchel's, they say he's choosing profiles over names. So let's see. But yeah, Ralph, how are you feeling about England going to this World Cup? I mean, what was your reaction when the squad came out? Were you were you with it? And how do you see it all now with England?
Um, so initially, I think like the rest of the country, I was a little bit sort of trepidatious about the squad itself. I think there was some definitely big names being left out. I think that from a tactical point of view, the more I've looked at it, the more I get it. The more I've understood the squad and how Tuchel's trying to play. I understand it. My only worry is that from the performances I've seen under Tuchel since he's come in, haven't really been that amazed by them. Even when we had a more well-rounded squad, a lot of players that, like I said, some of Nicole Palmer's in there, even experimented a few times with Bowen, etc. I've not been too impressed. We have actually struggled in quite a few games, I think. So from a tactical element, again, I understand what he's trying to do, but I just haven't seen that from England. Again, World Cup football is different. Tournament football is very different. Gareth Southgate showed that in times where we maybe had a squad that wasn't as talented as we do now, and we've done very well in tournaments. Over in the past sort of 10 years or so. So what I would say is, hopefully things are, when we go into the tournament, things are different. I haven't really seen Bellingham in that squad so far yet too much. When he has played, he has looked good. I like the fact that he's there. And I think his first 11 certainly will definitely be able to perform on the big stage. That they've played together before. I think that first 11 really is probably, without the guys that have missed out, probably would have been the starting 11 anyway. So I think, from that, they've definitely got the quality to go very far in terms of on paper, yeah, for sure. I just don't know if I've seen enough from Tuchel to sort of warrant me to be as excited as I have been under Southgate. We've gone into tournaments before where we've gone on a run of really long winless, not winless, long runs of constantly winning and not losing. Gone into big games, big fixtures. We've blown teams away in qualifying, etc. We haven't done that this time. We've been we're in a transition period with Lee Carsley as well during that period. But yeah, I'm not as excited as I am. I'm not as confident as I've been previously. With that Southgate, you knew it was going to be safe, pragmatic football. You knew what you're going to get. It's tournament football. They find a way to win every single time. With this, I think the fact that we're going to go in a bit more tactically and it's going to be a bit more of a trying to play like a Premier League team rather than an actual international team, it worries me a little bit because I think in international football it's a very different game, and there's going to be teams that are going to want it more than you, and with players on the pitch that, although they have got experience in tournaments, I do worry a little bit. That said, I still think England will do well. I still have us going into the later stages, and I think we should, based on experience and also what we have on the pitch as a starting 11 as a bare minimum. Harry Kane's going to be really important. Bellingham is going to be really important. Big goals, big players. I think Rashford's going to have a good tournament in terms of getting down that left hand side as well. Unsure about our right hand side as much. I think, especially at fullback as well. James is there, fantastic player on his day. If he gets slightly injured, who goes to fullback? Then it's kind of worries me a little. It does worry me a little bit about our options at fullback. That's a position where we've normally been really strong in previous years. So that does worry me a little bit. And like I said, starting 11, absolute fine. After that, when it goes into the deeper rounds, we're going to have to start bringing players on, resting players. I'm not 100% sure that we've got the quality to come onto the pitch and make a change in those big games, especially in the last stages. So, not as confident. I think we'll still do relatively well. I'm not going to predict a massive shocker in terms of England. We're going to get. But yeah, probably the least excited I've been for an England team in the past 4 tournaments, I would say, from at least what I've seen anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. There's not been much cause for excitement, to be fair. I mean, the game against New Zealand the other day was pretty dire, 1-0. And I mean, Tuchel's last few results haven't been great. Before that, England lost 1-0 to Japan, drew 1-1 with Uruguay. I mean, those are the 2 fixtures where Tuchel took the 55-man squad and was kind of testing out different things, using some of the, less fancied players, seeing if they can make the squad. And then a 2-0 win against Albania and a 2-0 win against Serbia. So it's not been crazy exciting, but I mean, there was large periods on Southgate where it wasn't really too exciting. Funnily enough, I think the most exciting England football, looking back, was the little period that Lee Carsley had. I think they had a good result against Ireland. I think a 5-0 win, if I'm right. But yeah, we'll come on to you now, Louis. Now, when Tuchel joined, you weren't necessarily keen.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, how's your stance on things now with Tuchel? I mean, obviously he's chosen that bold squad, which I
Yeah.
think I don't know if it's marinated on people or people are just coming to terms with it. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, just your overriding feelings going into this tournament for England. You
Mhm.
confident? Yeah, confident in the manager. You confident in the squad? What's your
I'm
feeling?
I'm confident in the manager, and I think I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's really interesting. I would, of course, I would rather win the World Cup with an Englishman at the helm. Of course, I'm English. We're all English here on this call. You would love one of your countrymen to lead us to the World. I would have loved Gareth Southgate to guide us to glory, because not only was he a great bloke and one of my countrymen, but that would have been a fantastic story considering his past as well. Um, However, Gareth Southgate is not a serious manager. I think he did a great job, and I think he did a lot to revive England, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. But Thomas Tuchel is a serious football manager, and he's somebody who has a CV of getting far in tournaments, a CV of managing expectations and managing egos and managing the best of the best. And also, I mean, you look when he came into Chelsea, they were in a bit of a mess when he first came in. He came in and probably did something really simple that a lot of people wouldn't have thought of, and that was play that three at the back, which people say he's a three at the back manager. He didn't play that before Chelsea. He played at PSG. He played that 4-2-2, obviously famously, and got PSG to the final, which they were very unlucky to lose the Champions League final. Came to Chelsea, played the three at the back, got the balance really well. I think he got players like Mason Mount and Kai Havertz into the right positions. And I can kind of see the vision with England, and I think I was speaking to a Bayern Munich fan who I work with, a German guy, obviously, um, and he was saying to me, he was saying he doesn't really like Tuchel as a person, which I mean, fair enough. But he also said that he's very methodical, and the way he thinks and talks about football is really interesting. And obviously, Vincent Company does it as well, probably in a little bit different ways. But he said the way Tuchel thought about things was very data driven and very methodical. And what I think he's done with this squad, that and we've spoke about this, Dodzi, in the group chat previously. I think he's blended the right profiles and the right balances really well. But also, I think if you look at the starting 11, and I think most England fans will probably agree on 9 out of 11 of the starting 11. I think with that starting 11, the plan is finally, which we've not done ever, I don't think, is actually to get the best out of Harry Kane and give him the same conditions that he has at Bayern Munich, where he has a runner on the left hand side, a natural creator on the right hand side in Saka and in Elise, which is what he had at Bayern, and also Christian Eriksen that he had at Spurs. And then you have kind of a number 10 behind him who actually kind of almost plays in front of him, like Dele Alli did, like Serge Gnabry and Jamal Musiala have, and can make those kind of runs in behind, like Jude Bellingham you'd expect will do, like Morgan Rogers you'd expect will do. And then you have on that left hand side the runner who will go in beyond in Rashford or Gordon, which obviously Luis Diaz, Heung-min Son, you know the score. But also I think the fullbacks as well and the midfield block behind them. I think Nico O'Reilly is going to float into that box from left back, going to pop up unexpectedly. I think Declan Rice can pop up in those positions as well on the edge of the box. He can also carry, but also if Kane does drop into those areas centrally in the pitch and wants to do what he does, you have that stability with Anderson and Rice. You have that mobility with the defenders in terms of O'Reilly, Gahey, Konsa, James, and then the two in front of them. Where actually, if we do kind of get caught on a transition, you have enough athleticism to get back and not get caught when Kane gets caught on the ball. And actually, it means Kane, when he does get on the ball, he does ping those passes, he can pop up in those areas where probably a centre back's looking for him, has realised he's not there, running back towards goal, and then Kane can kind of pop up behind him. So I actually think tactically, when you look at the squad, he's got it really spot on. And I liked how he spoke about Jed Spence. And look, I really don't rate Jed Spence as a player, but what he said is he's fast. So if you want to make a sub where you're 1-0 up, or even if you want to make a sub where you're chasing the game and you're 1-0 down, you can put another forward on, and then you can put Spence on, and you can kind of leave him on the halfway line because you know he's quick enough to get back. And I think the way he's thought about the squad to the nth degree is really, really methodical. And I think that's probably the reason he's left the likes of Cole Palmer out, because he doesn't fit that profile in any of those things I've just described. Maybe the creator from wide, but he likes to drop in. And Harry Maguire, because he doesn't have the mobility. Although he's been fantastic for England, and I think I probably would have taken him just for the leadership and just for the experience. The problem is, if you take Harry Maguire because of what he's done in an England shirt, you probably have to start Harry Maguire, just because that's the media pressure. Whereas Dan Burn probably offers you similar to what Harry Maguire does, although not the same experience. But in terms of the leadership, in terms of the vibe around the camp, and actually he's probably happy to sit on the bench and not make a fuss and maybe play 5-10 minutes at some stage. So I think actually methodically, he's really, really thought about this squad and really, really thought about getting the best out of Harry Kane. Whereas I think Southgate's idea of football was, let's get all the best players on the pitch and try and get the best out of the best players.
Yeah, which he did. He put Foden on the left many times. He had Dele Alli and Lingard playing in centre mid. So yeah, it's very fair to say that, and I think you're right. The dynamics of the potential England team are very similar to the Bayern Munich team. I mean, yeah, the fullbacks are quite like defensive fullbacks we've got this time around, similar to how Lima and Stanisic are more static fullbacks for Bayern Munich. So let's see if this does truthfully get the best out of Harry Kane, because I don't think we've ever seen the best of Harry Kane in the England shirt, despite his great tournament record. I don't think we've seen the best of him. But yeah, I guess another player that was mentioned there was Jude Bellingham. Now, Jude Bellingham hasn't necessarily been super favoured by Thomas Tuchel. I mean, he has had injuries, but also Morgan Rogers has played a lot of times in the 10. I think he's played Cole Palmer a couple of times in 10, and he's made it quite clear that Jude Bellingham is not a guaranteed starter in this lineup. Ralph, I'll ask you: do you think it's fair for Jude Bellingham to be a potential, you know, do you think he should be a nailed on starter for England, or do you think it's fair for him to have this role where he has to fight for his place?
Yeah, so I think Bellingham will start. From all the indication, based on the interviews I've seen and also what Tuchel's mentioned previously, it's mainly like Louis said about injuries, one of them, also about fatigue. I think Tuchel mentioned that he would prefer the players that are playing in 60, 70 games going deep into the Champions League to be played less and rested through those international friendly stages where we don't actually need to play them, just to allow them to have all the energy they need for the big games and the tournament football. I did notice that that was something that he was focusing on. I think with Jude Bellingham, he is clearly, and I think, head and shoulders above one of our best players on the pitch quite easily, especially in the 10 position. Morgan Rogers had a fantastic season. I think Morgan Rogers has got a lot of quality, and I do expect him to get minutes. I just think that in tournament football, Jude Bellingham has shown already for a few tournaments now that he is very Mr. Reliable when it comes to getting you a goal when you need it. Euros most recently is a big one. He literally carried us through that group stage, and also like I said, he is a quality player. He's obviously a Real Madrid player, and you do expect a high level of standards from the interviews that I've seen. I saw something with Rio Ferdinand and Ollie Watkins recently about how his demeanour is in the changing room and what he is like. As much as the media try to bring Jude Bellingham down, it's just the British media. They do that with most players for England. They always have been and always will. As much as they'd like to paint him as some sort of villain in the change room, from what I've heard from players' recollection, he's actually very mature and a very good person to be around in the change room. He has a very secure head, and you need that in tournament football. Someone who's got experience, someone who's going to keep a level head during a time of especially if you're 1-0 down or you're in a situation where you're not playing as well. I think he will play. I think he's probably a nailed-on star alongside Harry Kane. I think for me, the three main starters will be in the spine of the team are Pickford, Rice, Bellingham, and Kane. I think you build the team around that spine, and anyone else is kind of here or there for me. So yeah, I think definitely a nailed-on starter. I think he's the guy that's going to pop up with probably the most direct impact in games for us, bar Kane, I believe. So yeah, I think he definitely will start. I think the fact that he hasn't played as much and that Tuchel's kind of rested him or not played him in these international friendlies is probably because, again, as I mentioned, to do with resting him and making sure that he's fully fit and recovered, because he has been injured for a lot of that time. But I think Tuchel he knows he knows Jude Bellingham's quality. He knows what he can bring to a game. He knows, how he's going to fit into that system, and he will walk into that system any day of the week. And as you mentioned, with the box crashing element that you need when Harry Kane's dropping deep, you need someone who's going to be comfortable crashing the box and comfortable as someone who can score goals as well. And that's what Jude Bellingham excels at. He's almost the second striker when it comes down to it, especially in his first season at Real Madrid. He thrived off of those running into the box late and getting onto the end of things, and being in and around the box and being comfortable at scoring goals. So yeah, for me, definitely a starter. I think a lot of the media discourse is just the standard moral panic that the UK does, and brings down our team as they always do, especially with players of a certain ilk. So yeah, for me, definite starter. I don't see any reason why he would start Morgan Rogers in a game unless it was the last group stage and we'd already qualified. And you start Rogers because of the fact that you don't need to win. It's just a nothing game almost. But yeah, I think for me, 100% has to start. And again, I would go with that spine and build the team around anyone else around those four players.
Yeah, I think Jude Bellingham, despite the sort of on and off selections he's had by Tuchel, it would be very surprising if he didn't start, even though, Morgan Rogers has had a good season, has been favoured. I mean, I've given you guys my thoughts on Jude Bellingham. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's as good as we quite make out that he is, to be honest. I think, since that 23-4 season, he hasn't quite hit those heights. And I feel like it's because he's not as further forward, and we're seeing him more as a midfield player now. And I think he's a midfield player who can do well in end-to-end games, but not necessarily, the static games as much. So, I mean, as in terms of the tens we've got, we've got him, Rogers, and Eze. Fair enough, if just Jude Bellingham, if you're saying he's starting, absolutely fair enough. But for me, my stance is if game two, game one, he's not up to it, bring in Rogers. Maybe even bring in, I don't know, if you want to bring in a Mainu for control there and go a bit more attacking on the front three, do that. I don't think he's untouchable. I think Kane, like, as much as he's not been great in tournaments, I think you can make an argument for him as untouchable just because the track record at club level is just ridiculous. But I don't see Jude in that category. But let's hope he proves me wrong. Let's hope we get this Jude that we saw in 2024.
Yeah. I think Jude's a really, really interesting one. And I kind of think, and this will either be a masterstroke or it will be a complete disaster, but I kind of think Tuchel's, when he first came in, he was kind of an outsider looking in. And sometimes when you're an outsider looking in and you look at Bellingham, kind of like how people used to look at Bruno Fernandes, where you think he's petulant, and Cristiano Ronaldo, where you think he's petulant, he throws his arms up in the air, and he is petulant, and he does throw his arms up in the air, and he can be a bit of a prick on the pitch. But I think that's because he has very, very high standards. He's clearly been head and shoulders above everybody else from a very, very young age, and I think he demands and expects the best from his teammates. Now, we've all played with people like that before, and they're pricks to play with. So I think Tuchel's come in and he's kind of said, look, I'm the boss here. I'm the manager. We can play without you. We can win games without you. So we either become a team player and you fit the system I want you to play in. And look, Jude Bellingham is fantastic. In my opinion, a world-class footballer. He's not Harry Kane, right? He's not somebody who has a track record across 10 years of consistently scoring goals, delivering assists, and putting his team on his back. He had a great season in 23-24, and I think he went into that Euros kind of thinking he was the guy, and he is the guy, of course he is. But we kind of got ourselves in a bit of a pickle in that tournament where we found ourselves, not only were we putting Trippier at left back and then Foden on the left and kind of putting square pegs in round holes, but it was kind of like we were trying to find a system that got the best out of Bellingham, when actually it should be a case of trying to find a system that gets the best out of Kane. And I actually think the system that gets the best out of Kane is actually the system that gets the best out of Jude Bellingham, but I don't think Jude Bellingham quite realises that. I think Thomas Tuchel realises that, where he kind of thinks, okay, well, Bellingham is his best areas is in and around the box, in that kind of space on the left or the right, on the edge of the box or inside the box. Kane likes to drop deep, so there's going to be all of that space for Bellingham to get into those areas of the pitch. So I actually think if Bellingham plays his cards right, gets his head down, that's his position. Um, I think Morgan Rogers will start the first game um, against Croatia, but I think after that we'll probably see Jude, and I think Jude will be fired up. I also think he's not had the best season at Real Madrid, and I also think if he's on the bench for that first game, he's going to be chomping at the bit. And it has to be said about a lot of these players. A lot of these players this year, for probably the first time in my life as an England fan, are going into the World Cup where I think other than Kane and Rice and maybe Gahey, and I guess a lot of them haven't actually played that much football because they've had injuries at times this season. So Reece James has been in and out of the team at Chelsea. O'Reilly's played a fair few games at City, but even he's come out sometimes for Ait-Nouri. I mean, Elliot Anderson, he plays for Nottingham Forest, so there's a maximum number of games you can play anyway. Mainu's had half the season where he didn't play. Morgan Rogers has been in and out at times. He's had rest at times. I know Emery likes to tinker. Bellingham's had his injuries. Gordon's had his injuries. Rashford's been in and out. Saka's had his injury, and actually, I think although Saka wasn't great in the Champions League final, I actually think when he came back from his injury, he kind of looked refreshed. And he looked in that central when he played in that central area. So I actually think we have a lot of players who, if we rotate the team well enough and we balance the minutes, I think we're going to have a lot of players who can be really, really useful. And you mentioned Eze a minute ago. I haven't even thought about Eze and how he might fit into the picture. Tactically, that's a really good option for if you want to get a bit more control from someone like a Rashford or a Gordon. You can stick Eze on the left. If you want to get someone who the ball always falls to Eze on the edge of the box as well. Always falls to Eze on the edge of the box. So if you want that type of option, which is a bit different to Rogers and Jude, you can do that. I even think Eze is smart enough where if you did put him in on that right hand side, and the same as Morgan Rogers, although I don't think it's optimal, I actually think they could probably do a job there if you wanted a little bit of control on that right hand side as well. Whereas Madueke off the bench won't give you as much control, he'll give you more ability 1v1. But I think Rogers and Eze can both play that position out on the right, where if you need to get the ball to them and say, look, just hold the ball for 30 seconds, both of them can do it.
Yeah, you're right. I think Eze is an interesting option. I mean, look, he's the other player who I've heard a small group of fans say maybe he was the one who should have been sacrificed for a Gibbs White or Cole Palmer. But yeah, I do think the tactical flexibility he gives, being able to play 10, being able to play left wing, is a big reason Tuchel's chosen him. I mean, Tuchel's chosen a lot of players who can do a lot of Swiss Army knife players, I'd say. So yeah, that is an interesting option. What do you guys think England's Achilles heel is going into this tournament then? I'll let either of you fire away.
Actually, you go first, bro. You go first. I spoke for there.
I think it's weirdly enough, we just spent like 10, 20 minutes talking about our attacking talent. I think it's actually going to be our chance creation and actually getting the ball in the back of the net, weirdly enough. I think it's something that we, post 2018, I think it's something that we've kind of struggled with a little bit, especially in 2024 with the Euros. We were really struggling to score goals and creating chances. And I think in Tuchel's reign, we've struggled to create chances against poor sides. Like I said, even that Albania side, they gave us a run for our money in that game. And like I said, losing to Japan, barely created in that game. New Zealand, barely created in that game. We've got attacking talent, but I just think with England, it's always very slow and methodical. There's never enough, pause, or there's not enough bang, bang, bang. It's not happening enough for us. Defensively, I think we're very solid. I don't have an issue with our defence. I think with having Rice and Anderson there, and then obviously our back four and then the fullbacks as well. I think defensively we're solid. Pickford's a really good goalkeeper as well, so I don't expect him to make any silly mistakes with that experience that he's got in all these tournaments as well. I just think, as much as I think Saka does play well for England, I think that right-hand side is weak, and unless you play Madueke, who I think does get to the byline really well. I just think that for some reason, whenever I've watched England over the past, few months or so, or in Tuchel's reign, as much as we've got all the ideas, it's just the execution of those ideas and attacking areas that we seem to just falter on. And when you're going to be in tight games, especially towards the later rounds after the group stages, even probably into group stages, some of the games you think you should walk into and probably put teams away, your Panamas, for example. I do think that our attacking sort of speed and pace is pretty lacking. We like to be in control of the ball, we like to have a lot of the ball, side to side, left to right. But I think that's going to be our main issue, is just actually going for the juggler and actually putting teams away, because you're going to need to do that in early doors with a lot of teams, because the longer you leave things in the tournament, it goes closer to penalty shootouts, and we are good at penalty shootouts, to be fair, but you don't want to put games where you don't need to be going to penalties, because the longer you're playing in games, the more tired you are if you go through. It's just going to cause more issues for ourselves than we need to. But yeah, from what I've seen, and like I said, based on the Euros as well, a little bit about what I've seen recently, I think definitely attacking wise, we are very talented, but whether or not we execute that well enough, I don't think that's going to be I think that's going to essentially cause us to not win this tournament. It's going to be our ability to put the ball in the back of the net, despite the talent that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I also think we're probably going to struggle in some games, particularly when we play a technical side, like for example a Spain or a Portugal, particularly those two teams. Because actually, I think France probably have the same problem we do in terms of they have a lot of talent and a lot of physicality, but I don't think France have that player who can step on the ball and dictate a game. I don't think England do either. I know we've got Cobby on the bench who, that he's not a dictator. He's someone who will control the ebbs and flows of the game, but he's not someone who's going to get on the ball and make 100 passes. I think Elliot Anderson can do that, but not to the same level as a Vitinha or the same level as a Pedri. Or I mean, even look, Zubamendi had a poor end to the season. Rodri's been unfit, but you expect those guys to get on the ball and make 80, 90, 100 passes. I don't think, and if Declan Rice does do it, I don't think it's going to be necessarily forward passes. Um, so I think we might struggle in certain games where we're expected to probably give teams a good game. I do think if we play a Portugal or a Spain, it's going to be a really, really horrible watch. I guess Tuchel's thinking is we're never going to be able to play against teams like that, no matter who we call up, and we're never going to be able to dominate the ball. So we might as well be extremely physical. We might as well suffer, and we might as well hit those teams where they hurt. Because actually, I think the physicality we have, particularly if you have a midfield of Jude, Rice, and Anderson, actually, if you allow if you play the correct way with those three, you're not going to give the Vitinhas and the Pedris enough time on the ball. But I do think that can be our Achilles heel. And yeah, Ralph's absolutely right. The ability to create chances is going to be painful at times. But also, I think the defense is good, but it's inexperienced at the highest level in terms of, look, Gahey and O'Reilly have been in a title race this season, although they were never the ones who were on the title race. Reece James has played in big games. Conce has played in big games in the Europa League, but in terms of an international level, none of those guys have actually played in these really, really difficult semi-finals, finals. I mean, it's always been Maguire, Stones, Trippier, Walker, Shaw, of which none are in the squad apart from John Stones. So I do think there might be lapses of concentration potentially in some of the later stages, especially when the pressure gets tough after a really, really long season. So that's something that does worry me. That being said, I think all four of those players individually are fantastic players. So you would hope that they will overcome that.
Yeah, I think England's defence is like, yeah, you're right, it's inexperienced, but if I think of how England play as a team, I think defensively it's one of the stronger points of England. I never really watched England play and they're absolutely getting ripped apart, conceding loads of chances. I think maybe only the Senegal game was one. But like even, last tournament, the Euros, England's defence was the best part of the tournament. Now you had John Stones there. And you're right, we don't have Stones or Maguire there. But I do think as well in the bigger games, under Southgate, so Stones and Maguire did have lapses, did have what necessary flaws in the biggest of games. So
And Walker as well.
yeah, and Walker, as much as we want to praise these guys. So I think going to it, I'm not too worried about the defense, but and with Rice and Anderson in front of them, that's the ultimate insurance policy. I think in terms of the leggiest midfield, I don't think you're going to get midfield with better legs than that. But yeah, Ralph, I hear you. I think going forward, it's like how quickly can England break on transition. I always think of that game England had against Spain in 2018, and England was so good in transition that day. And you just think if England could just transition like that, I think they actually really suit playing a Spain or a Portugal, because I think you can hold what they've got attacking wise. Because I mean, look, Portugal have not the best attack in my opinion. Spain as well on the names. I mean, apart from Yamal, and to be fair, Williams is was great last tournament, but he's not been in great form recently, and they haven't got a recognised nine. So I think that's the thing, and that's where I think Noni Madueke, you might see him come into the tournament. It's been an iffy season for Saka. I think we're hoping Saka can recreate the Elise role. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying the Elise role when a couple of seasons ago Saka was really his father, man. But yeah, you're hoping Saka can get back to that form. But if not, I think Madueke, we saw against Serbia, that 5-1 win. He was electric, and he's been electric at times. He came on against PSG in the Champions League final and showed exactly why he's in the squad, because he's going to be able to absolutely burn the tired legs. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how all that unfolds with the attack. Because yeah, if I think that has to be unleashed for England to really get to where they get to. We're not going to be able to do like in Euros, try to get one goal a game and win on pens. It's not going to happen.
No.
But yeah,
Yeah, I also think actually, the more I think about it, Spain's and Portugal's are going to be afraid of playing us as well, because not only are we just a solid unit overall, and we have a decent attack. I mean, I was speaking to the Dutch and I was speaking to the Germans, and they were saying like they're really scared of Kane, the way he's been playing. Um, but also, I think I look at those two sides. In my opinion, and even France, even though I have my reservations about England's defense, I don't think those two defenses are vintage defenses by any chance either. Those three defenses, I think they're very easily gettable. I seen Saliba needs back surgery, so he's going to be playing with back spasms potentially, and that's France's best centre back. And when you think he's played 65 games this season, on top of the fact that he's going to have to play every 3 or 4 games now, on top of the heat, on top of the travel time, on top of having to go between LA and New York and Mexico and Toronto and whatnot. I do actually think that these other teams are going to look at us and they're not going to want to play England. I think we're one of those teams where, no matter the result, England are going to give you 90 minutes of a really, really tough game. And even if you win that game, it's going to take so much out of you, because we're going to be so, so, so difficult to play against, so hard to beat. I think even if we do lose to a France or a Spain, it will be by 1 goal.
yeah,
I mean, look, Spain were by far the better team than us in that Euro final, and I don't think that England team is as good and is as tactically astute as the current England team. And I think that Spain team were at a level then better than what they are now. And look how close that game was. I mean, even though they completely slapped us, it was 1 goal, and it was one mistake from Walker. So I do think these teams are going to fear us just as much as we talk about them. And actually, I don't think there's anyone in the tournament, and this isn't me being a typical cocky England fan, I don't think there's anyone in the tournament who we can't beat. That's not, TikTok are going to love this. That's not me saying we are going to beat everybody. That's me saying I don't think there's a team genuinely who we can't beat. And I don't think there's a team who will look at us and think we will wipe the floor with England. I think we are definitely top 3, top 4 teams in this tournament. I would probably have us the second best team in this tournament personally, in
yeah,
terms of balance overall.
yeah. In terms of names on paper, I'd agree. I think England and France are the best two. And yeah, we're starting to mention other nations now. So I want to spring this on you guys now. We're going to say defense, midfield, attack. We're going to say who's got the best defense in the tournament, who's got the best midfield, and who's got the best attack. So starting with defense now. Look, for me, I think if Saliba plays, I think France have the best defense because Saliba and Upamecano, you're not getting much in behind there. Jules Koundé, in terms of a static right back, defensive right back, I think he's as good as it gets. The only sort of question mark is the left back situation. Now, Theo Hernandez, going to the last World Cup, was considered probably the best left back in the world, but he's got Saudi tax on him now, so we might not put him there. But I just think no other defense has as much of an outstanding defender, I think, as William Saliba. So that pushes them massively ahead. And Upamecano, I mean, he's only really crap when we watch him, to be fair. So if he actually plays, the level he plays at every game in Bundesliga, and even to be fair in the Champions League as well this season, I think he was good against PSG. I think you've got the best defense there. The fullbacks aren't the fullbacks I love, but I'd say for me, France have the best defense. What you guys would think?
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I do think it is France, particularly. I think the only real issue I would have with France's defense is, I mean, Koundé's not had his best season. I mean, he still won the league, so he's clearly a very, very good player for the third time, I believe. So he's clearly a very, very good player. But I mean, as we mentioned, Saliba's potentially carrying this injury, and I also think Saliba and Upamecano are two centre backs who would rather let another centre back make the first action.
Yeah, it's true.
So there might be a case of both of them are trying to be a bit too nonchalant with their defending. And look, we know Upamecano has a mistake in him. I mean, we know Saliba has a mistake in him as well, of course. Less so probably than what we've seen with Upamecano. So I think I worry a little bit about the balance of those two particularly. I mean, you may chuck Konate in there rather than Upamecano. I don't think he will, but Konate's a bit more of a first action kind of defender where he'll be the one who makes the first contact and Saliba will drop. But I do think it's France. I do think there's. Are we going to say our dark horses, by the way?
We.
Okay. So I will leave my other team defensively for when we talk about our dark horses. But yeah, we'll go with France. I'm just trying to think of if there's anyone I want to shout out other than that.
Netherlands on paper have a strong defense. You got Dumfries.
Yeah.
Portugal as well.
And what's that? You say Belgium.
Portugal have a good defense on paper as well.
I don't know about Portugal's defense.
I mean, Portugal got Dalot, Diaz, Inacio, and Nuno Mendes have got the best left back in the world. Also,
and Diaz
as well.
I also think
Viega.
I mean, Diaz has been out of favour with Portugal. They obviously have the best left back in the world. I'm not sure about the centre backs. To be honest, I actually think Diogo Dalot is solid. I don't know why he gets as much hate as he does. Like if you ask Dalot to play in the middle and defensive thirds, he's really good. It's when you ask him to go into the attacking third, he turns into a bit of a melon. Actually, between the lines, he's really, really good, and he can play some nice line breaking passes. And he's quite technically secure. And he's a decent defender 1v1. I worry about the defense. I mean, I've not seen enough of Ignacio to. I just know he looks like Donnarumma. And Diaz. I mean, I've never ever rated that guy as highly as everyone else, even when he was winning Player of the Year. So, and he's also a bit of a Lindelof style centre back where actually he doesn't like getting down and dirty. I don't think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's I would say France and the Netherlands. I mean, it's a big blow for the Netherlands. They don't have Timber because, I mean, a back four of Timber, Van Hecke, Van Dijk, and Van de Ven would have been disgusting in terms of shutting teams out, especially with the technical quality they have in midfield. But yeah.
I'd agree. I think the top three then would be. Actually, I mean, Ralph, what do you think? You said Portugal. You reckon Portugal might take it?
Just giving it sort of an outside shout, just in terms of I think definitely at fullback. I think they've definitely got some quality. I agree. Centre back probably not. I think in terms of if you're talking world class in terms of the full back four, yeah, definitely France. I think by the Timber situation, Netherlands for sure are going to be up there. Yeah, I think to be fair, England. I know that we haven't actually got our best centre backs going. Shout Harry Maguire, but yeah, I think in terms of the back four, the starting back four at least, I think that's up there with definitely one of the best, if not, some would argue slightly better than Netherlands in some instances. So yeah, I think definitely a top three, and I think for all tournaments that's always been the case. You know, for the last 2-3 tournaments that has been the case. For England, at least, we've always had very solid defence. We've got world class players in each one of those positions quite easily. I mean, whether you want to call Gay world class, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he is quite world class just yet, but he's definitely a top centre back. John Stones, on his day, was a fantastic centre back and could be called world class in some instances. Reece James certainly is up there, and Nico O'Reilly is not as experienced, but definitely a very good player. So yeah, definitely some absolute hitters in the defence, and always defensively solid when it comes down to tournament football. So no issues of our. I would say on paper at least we would be up there top three.
Yeah, just one more team I want to mention is Brazil. They've got a solid centre back pairing of Marquinhos and Gabriel. Fullbacks, I don't think is a solid. I mean, here it says Danilo and Alexandro. I know they've got. Seeing here, they've got Douglas Santos.
Alexandro in 2026. Golly.
I mean, yeah, once upon a time he was a solid left back, but yeah, I think they'll be fourth, maybe. Argentina as well have got Christian Romero and Lisandro at centre back, who on their day that could be a great pairing, but lacks a bit of height, maybe. I know this isn't the Premier League where it's going to be the ball's going to be playing in the air, but you know,
Surprisingly, no Marcos Senesi after the season he's had at
yeah, that's a weird one.
I thought he'd go as the third centre back, especially since they've taken off Mendy, the experienced guy, but Unk.
Yeah,
And then they took that Balerdi guy who's now got injured, and I'm seeing Scaloni doesn't want to call up another centre back. So Senesi must be thinking, what the hell have I got to do?
yeah, he's risking it there because it's not like they've got great depth in defence. So
Yeah, and Lissandro's had his injury problems this year as well.
yeah. Well, cool. We'll move on to midfield threes now. And this is, I mean, off the bat, it looks like Spain probably have the most technical three with Rodri, Fabio Ruiz, and Pedri. Also, potentially Gavi playing there as well. Netherlands also a strong shout with De Jong, Gravenberch, Reinders, maybe Koop Miners. You've got England on paper, three great names with Rice, Anderson, and Bellingham. But Portugal, I think, going into this, it's hard to argue that Vitinha, João Neves, and Bruno isn't the best midfield at this tournament. To be honest, I think Portugal take the crown here. As much as I'm trying to make arguments in my head, maybe that's not the most physical. I mean, João Neves can get physical, so
Bruno can get physical as well.
Yeah. Can he?
Yeah, he can. He definitely can. He definitely can. Sometimes he's a bit of a bitch with it, but he definitely there's definitely games. I think less so this season, towards the end of the season, but there's definitely been games where I've seen him go. He's not great defensively, but he will get stuck in. He will get physical.
Yeah, he's prem proof, and if you're prem proof, you've already got that physicality.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it's between Portugal and Spain. Sometimes the obvious answer you want to differ from it, and Spain, kind of feels like usually is the obvious answer with Rodri, Pedri, and Ruiz. And maybe Spain have the edge there because they've actually got a natural six. I mean, Vitinha for me, I don't know if he's a natural six like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's obviously he plays there very well, but Rodri is born to play that position. So yeah, guys, what are we saying? Any outsider? Are we any outsider shouts, or are we saying Portugal or other?
There's a lot. I mean, it's Portugal, of course.
Yeah.
And then probably Spain second, Netherlands or England third. Take your pick. But I mean, just looking at my bracket now, I think there's a lot of good midfields in this tournament. I think, I mean, France's is decent. Senegal have a pretty good midfield. I think Belgium have quite a good midfield.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
Germany have a decent midfield as well.
Scotland,
Um,
Morocco as well. I know they're not like
Scotland have a decent midfield.
yeah, they're not
Scot-
world beaters, but they've definitely got balance and they've definitely got players who can play. And McTominay's an unbelievable season. John McGinn, big player as well. So
yeah,
yeah, definitely definitely some good players. And yeah, like I said, even with the likes of Morocco, that on paper they may not be the most physical, but they've proven before that they can hang with the big boys. So definitely someone to look out for in this tournament. And I think they will again do very well after their AFCON defeat. I think they've got something to prove. I can see them guys. If we're talking dark horses again, definitely going very far again in this tournament. I've got them to go far in this tournament again as well.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, you mentioned Germany as well. Germany's midfield's decent. Pavlovic. I mean, Pavlovic is the player I rate most there. To be fair, probably I'm seeing Wirtz and Goretzka. I'm not really a fan of
Hmm?
Wirtz. But yeah, he's a big name, I guess. But yeah, we'll say Portugal for the front for the midfield. I think that's very tight with them and Spain. It could end up being Spain. And now front three. I mean, you've got that the leading contenders are England with Saka, Kane, and Rashford. You've got Argentina, you have Messi, Martinez, and Alvarez. You've got
Nico Paz as
Brazil.
well.
Who?
Nico Paz as well.
Oh yeah, of course. If he doesn't play, then
Yeah,
uh,
10 forward. I think, yeah.
yeah, Brazil have got Rafinha, Vinicius, and Cunha. With who
Endrick.
knows what form Neymar's going to be in there. Endrick as
Mm.
well. Thiago, if he realizes it's if he thinks it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Um, and I mean, even Germany's is not bad. I mean, you've got
Nah,
Sane in 26,
nah.
Kai Havertz, and Musiala. Havertz, big game Havertz. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, France have the best names, and they've got, for me, the most exciting player potentially. I mean, apart from Yamal, I think Yamal and Elise are the most exciting players at this World Cup. And I think Elise's got the factor in terms of we've never seen him at a tournament before. We've never seen him play for France before on the bigger stage. So that's an exciting front three. But is Dembele going to be able to replicate the same dynamics he has at PSG for France? How is he going to fare with Mbappe? Don't
Mm.
know, but on paper that is the three best names. And then yeah, England have the most informed striker in the world. So who am I picking for front three? The best front three?
I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's
I think
France.
it's clearly France.
Yeah, I think it's clearly I mean, the fact that they have probably Desiree Doué and Ryan
Oh,
Cherky off the bench
yeah,
is like ridiculous.
yeah,
Um, but I think the point you make, and again, I know we're going to go into our kind of disappointments in the not to give anything away,
yeah,
but I think the composition of Mbappe's best position is probably on the left, even though he plays striker, and Dembele's best position striker, even though he's probably going to play on the left or the right for France. Um, we all know Mbappe's not moving from striker because that's just not happening. But
yeah,
I mean, just the names on paper is like beyond a joke. I think any of those players would start for any team in the tournament.
mm,
I mean, that being said, probably Harry Kane would as well. I mean, maybe there's a debate for Norway and not for France, but I think you'd find a way to fit Kane in if you have Kane. But yeah, I think France pretty clearly for me is the biggest the best attack in the tournament. I'd say probably followed balance wise by England.
yeah. England's. I mean, if you get Saka back to his best, I mean that is a great front three. Him, Kane, and Rashford, and yeah, balance wise, I think it's the best. I'm not seeing all the other front threes. I'm seeing square pegs in round holes. To be honest,
What, no, CR7?
Portugal's front three. Who have they got? João Felix, Ronaldo, and who's going to play on the right?
Yeah,
Neto.
Bernardo Silva will probably play on the right, or
Ronaldo on the right.
It'll probably be Neto, wouldn't it?
yeah, or no, yeah, no, it depends how they feel.
It's all meaty, bro.
He's washed now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, nah, Ronaldo at tournaments is so washed, man. You know, I can't wait to see what he does. But if it's anything like that Euros performance, bloody hell, mate.
In a way, I actually kind of feel bad for him
Yes.
because if he would have had this midfield 10 years ago, it would have actually been peak.
Honestly,
he was having to deal with Danilo Pereira.
Danilo and Carvalho. So yeah, I mean, Spain's front three, they've got the best wing pairing in terms of what we've seen from like a wing pairing in international football. I'd say.
Well, Young was decent as well, man.
He's about. Yeah, he's a solid player.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think France take that. Outside shouts for England. I mean, Argentina's a funny one because you still got Messi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, we're going. I feel like Brazil. I'm ignoring Brazil as well, to be honest. Rafinha and Vinny on the wings.
Yeah, Rafinha and Vinny. And I actually feel like Endrick's going to have a really good tournament.
Yeah.
That's my underdog for the tournament.
He just like, he looks like he's only ever going to be good for Brazil.
Yeah.
And also, man, I mean, look, Cunha's a really, really frustrating player. But I mean, wherever you ask him to play, he always does a good job. And he will always create moments, even if his performances sometimes for 90 minutes aren't the greatest. He'll always have moments in games where he can produce something. So I think that's a good option for them to have. And I mean, Igor Thiago deserves his call up. But yeah, I don't think he's going to get a 3 p.m. penalty at the G-Tech in America. So,
well,
yeah. If they had João Pedro there, I might have had him higher. But I think Endrick is a good wildcard factor. So, yeah. All right, cool. Let's get into the group stage predictions now. I'm gonna be honest. This is my first time. I'm literally doing this live. So we've got Group A. Group A, we've got Mexico, South Africa, Korea, and Czech Republic. Mexico, South Africa to kick off the World Cup, just like they did 16 years ago in Bafana with that epic Shabalaba goal.
That was actually the game as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's funny how that works. That's crazy. What have you guys got for that group?
I think it's a really, really even group.
Yeah.
I think personally, just because of the home factor, I've got Mexico first. And then I've got, because of the experience and tournaments, I've got Korea second.
Yeah.
And then I think the third and fourth is a bit of a toss of a coin because South Africa, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know what they're gonna bring. I think simply because of the climate, it's gonna benefit them. However, when I've seen that Sundowns team in the Club World Cup, they were actually all right, man. I mean, obviously they got beat in most of their games, but they were okay. They can hang. And Czech Republic's team's crap, but they always seem to be at these tournaments. So, and they've got a few Premier League players. But also their centre back wears number 7, so I'm going to put them fourth.
Who's their centre back?
That Krejci from Wolves.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ralph, what are you saying for that group?
I've done something quite different. Well, not quite different, but I've actually got Czech Republic to go through second place after Mexico. Something similar to what you said a little bit as well, Louis, about the fact that they're just there. European sides, they're one of them teams that are probably just going to be hard to beat. They'll probably slog through games, probably get a couple draws. You know, they've got to play Korea. Do I see Korea blowing Czech Republic away? Probably not. The stats probably a draw. I probably see them beating South Africa on the day. So that's already 4 points there. Then Mexico can go either way. Um, I'm just looking at that group and just thinking, yeah, you're very much right. It's a very tight group. I can see a lot of draws happening. I don't see a lot of teams sort of running. Maybe Mexico potentially running away with it. Probably the standout there. But yeah, those next three teams are like interchangeable for me. I wouldn't be surprised if it was completely the other way around either. Like, South Africa come second and Korea came last, for example. I wouldn't surprise me. But I've just got a weird feeling. I did have a look at Czech Republic's previous games. They've done okay. Like they've not really lost a lot. I think they've only really lost to maybe Albania when I think they got a red card potentially in that game, if I remember rightly. But it's very very tight in terms of that group. It could go either way, but I just have a weird feeling about Czech Republic just pulling off a madness and just doing something in that group for some reason. Just a random win potentially. I think definitely winnable games for them. Mexico, I think, again, winnable games in all areas. Again, Son, Korea, I from what I experienced, they seem to be a good side. They seem, they do rely a little bit on Son there, but obviously he's not been playing at the highest level this year, so I don't know if that's going to translate over into the World Cup. If he's going to have the same sort of quality that he had when he left the Premier League, but yeah, we'll see. Again, he's experienced to the crowd, he's experienced to there, so that will probably be a good thing for South Korea to have that experience in America. So we'll see. Could go away, but yeah, for some reason I've got Czech Republic going through there in second place.
Yeah, I
Up
mean,
the
look,
Czechs.
it's anyone's group that. I mean, yeah, I think I'd give home advantage to Mexico, have them top. South Korea, I'd have second. Yeah, just in terms of the Sun factor, I think he's he's been playing in America as well. So let's see if that helps him. And then Czech Republic third, South Africa fourth. Move on to Group B. Another on paper, I'll be honest, not the most exciting group. You've got Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland. And I've got Switzerland come top. Switzerland are always at tournaments and they're a banker for round of 16 at tournaments. Maybe get the odd exit, the odd upset as well. Remember Euro 2021 when they shocked France. I'll go with Canada second. I feel like Canada had good moments in the last World Cup. I'm not sure I don't think they made out of the groups, but I remember their game against Belgium. I remember them having quite a few chances before going on to lose the game. Alfonso
They
Davies there.
yeah, they missed the penalty, didn't they?
Yeah, John. Yeah, was it
Jonathan David, I
Davies?
think. I think it was David. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got Qatar to come third. I remember hearing recently that they've been doing quite well. Like Qatar football's on the rise or whatever, and I feel like it's just there's just more incentive there than there is for Bosnia. So that's why I've got them third and fourth. But like, who knows really what could happen there? Yeah. Louis, what you got for that group?
I agree with your top two. I mean, to be honest, who cares about three and four? I've just got a soft spot for Bosnia because it's one of my favorite countries in the world that I visited, and they have such a dark, interesting, tragic history that I really want them to do well. I mean, most of those players who play for the national team are from the diaspora who have been scattered around the world. So I really really hope that that they do well. It's a shame they knocked Italy out, but I'm happy for them. I hope they do well, and also that World Cup song is one of the best World Cup songs ever.
I've heard. Is it new?
Go on TikTok when you're done. Just
All right, cool. I'll search that up.
yeah.
Ralph, you got anything different to that, or is that pretty much?
No, pretty much the same again. I thought Bosnia above Qatar in that situation, but yeah, Canada and Switzerland. I think to be fair, Bosnia could pull a mad thing and actually go through second there. I do think it's going to be Switzerland. In general, I just think they have got enough quality. And Bolo though this time, which is going to be a weird one first. For Switzerland, I feel like he's one of those players that we just seem to be accustomed to randomly pops up at tournaments and disappears like or they're like Choa and things like that. They just want them players that just a staple of tournaments. But yeah, no visa, no party for him. So, which is a big mainstay for a lot of people in this World Cup. Funny enough, but yeah, I think Switzerland still have enough quality across the pitch to go through. You know, obviously they gave England a really good game in this was it the quarterfinals of the Euros as well. So I took us to penalties. So yeah, that's yeah, I think they're going to go through quite easily. Nothing really too crazy there, but yeah, I could see Bosnia doing a mad thing and actually coming out above. But obviously, a home advantage for Canada is going to probably help them to get through, I think, second.
Yeah. Cool. Moving on to Group C. We've got Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. Now, this is the first sort of tasty group, if you'd like. Brazil, the clear favourites for this group. I've got them at first. And then the rest of the teams. Now, you made a good point about Morocco earlier that they could be wanting some AFCON revenge. I did have Scotland at second, but I might move them to. I'm going to stick with them a second. I feel like they're just on a bit of a high as a nation right now. They had an epic win against Denmark. Some of the players would have been involved in the epic final day of the season in the SPL. They've got, Scott McTominay, who's one of the biggest goal threats outside of Brazil in this group. And yeah, I just felt they, on paper, have more going forward than Morocco. Morocco obviously have the experience of the last World Cup. They're a very hardened international side. I just feel like when sides like this have their run, they have a run for a couple of tournaments, whether it's your continental tournament and then your international, like the World Cup. And I feel like there's one tournament where it just comes crashing down. I feel like this might be it for Morocco. That's just a gut feeling. And then Haiti, I don't know too much about Haiti's national team. I've got them at fourth. Yeah, those are my predictions. Louis, coming to you.
Yeah, this is a tough one to call, right? Because I think Brazil are the clear favourites, but I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Morocco or Scotland win the group.
Yeah.
But I think Brazil will win the group. I think Morocco, just because they have that more tournament experience, they've made deep runs now in the World Cup and in AFCON. I think they'll come second, and also Scotland's defense is really crap, which lets them down. But I was watching. I watched the when I think about the World Cup, I always like going into the kind of smaller, better stories rather than just the Englands and the Spains and the Frances. I was watching a documentary when I was working from home earlier about Haiti. Again, another country with a fascinating dark history. Amazing story for them to be here, considering they essentially don't have a state right now. I mean, the country itself exists, but it doesn't really function. So, and again, a very large diaspora, particularly in North America. So I do think they will surprise a few. And also they beat New Zealand 4-0 the other day. And New Zealand the World Cup regulars. And also they have a Premier League striker in Wilson Asidia from Sunderland as well, who's made the switch. And in my opinion, the best name in the World Cup, Duke Lacroix. I don't know why, I just find that such a fascinating name because I think of Maxence Lacroix and then I think of Duke from Tracy Beaker. And I think of them two together. And I don't know, that's nothing to do with football, obviously, but I just think, I don't know, I'd really like Haiti to do well, and it wouldn't surprise me if they nicked a result off one of the three more established nations in the tournament, and it would be scenes, it would be absolute scenes if they did win one of those games as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be hilarious if they beat Scotland on the first game week. That would be jokes.
Yeah. I mean, that's great breakdown on Haiti. I'm looking forward to seeing them in the tournament because, yeah, from what I know, they had that tragedy in 2010 with the earthquake, and they've made it to a World Cup this year. So, shouts out to them. Cool. We'll go with Group D, and this is another group where
Sorry, just
I
to let you
know.
know, I've got Brazil going out as third and Morocco, Scotland, Haiti.
My
Yeah,
bad.
just
Sorry, I all
Really?
about it.
yeah,
All
I don't
about
have Brazil
it.
winning. I think you're going to be. I think we're going to be surprised about Brazil this year. I just have a bad feeling about them. I can't shake it. I think they've got the qualities to do well, but something is just ticking in me. I think Morocco beat them. I think Haiti probably go and get a result if it's whether a draw. And I think shout out Scotland, but I think Scotland might actually do Brazil. I know it sounds crazy to say, but I just think that's going to be my biggest shocker is Brazil not getting out of the group as second, maybe third best placed, but yeah, I've got them going out as third in the group stage. And based on the Haiti situation, it might be a bit of a sticky one still there for them. But yeah, I think they're going forwards. They've got great players. I just don't think they're as the midfield. I've got aging Casemiro, got Paqueta. It's a good midfield, but I just think they may go out here. So yeah, that's my biggest shocker. I think is Brazil going out in or coming in third place at least for Group C.
Yeah, I mean Brazil are definitely missing that aura. Like I'm not thinking about Brazil in the same way I usually do for World Cups. Like they feel like one of the decent teams at the World Cup this year. I mean that's not necessarily to do with who they have on paper. It's just to do with the aura, and aura is obviously it comes from how you play the previous tournaments so far. Obviously, first few World Cups I remember 2006, 2010. It's like like Brazil is in your group, like it's aura, right? But it's this time around, if I heard Morocco beat Brazil, would I be surprised? No. That being said, I think their last few games, I think they won 6-2. I think they won 4. Did they score? I know they can let goals fly. So I do hear you. I do hear you on Brazil. Let's see. Um, them coming third, that would be an almighty shock. I mean, there's usually one. There's usually one team. I think of France in 2010. There's a great Netflix documentary out about that team actually, just about that implosion. So let's see who that will be this year. Okay, Group D: Turkey, USA, Paraguay, and Australia. Now, me and Louis know. Well, me and Louis should probably be wise to not write Australia off after last year's last World Cup round. But I don't have them qualifying as top two. I have Turkey coming first. Turkey, who are the autopilot choice for dark horses in many tournaments. I have them coming first. They got, I think of Ardagula, I think of Chaolonu, 30. That's the names that comes off my head. I'll go over them at first.
Ferdy coming fast.
They might have him playing as well. You never know. USA. Now, I was watching a podcast I came on TikTok with Tim Howard and Clint Dempsey. No, Tim Howard and Landon Donovan. I must say, Landon Donovan's got some mad takes. And they are saying, they're guaranteeing 3 wins out of 3 in the group stage. The USA just have something about them where I think they'll play well in some of the games. I think they just won't as well in 1 or 2 of the games. I think, they can win games, they can lose games, USA. I mean, as can any football team. But I've got USA at second, and then Australia at third, and Paraguay at fourth. So, that's a shot in the dark with that one. I mean, who knows? I would be surprised if Paraguay came top of that group. What you got for that group?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the complete same, and I do think the Latin American teams are going to do really, really well. Paraguay probably the worst of the Latin American teams, but I mean, I'd say on paper Turkey are the best team. USA, I've put USA first simply because of a home tournament, and simply because I think they kind of have to come first. I completely agree completely about the podcast with Landon Donovan and Tim Howard. But also, I don't know if you've seen Alexi Lalas and Stuart Holden, where Alexi Lalas is saying like Weston McKennie's top 3 midfielder in the tournament.
Oh yeah, I think I saw something like that.
And he's like better than McAllister, better than Declan Rice.
Yeah, you don't know where I'm from,
To
dog.
be fair, I've heard he's actually been very good for Juve this season. I mean, he's never top 3 midfielders in the tournament, but I've heard
He
he's
has, but
a bit of a revival.
come on now.
Yeah,
And Australia, I mean, I learned this with the Ashes. They're just good at sports. They're just one of them countries who, whatever sport they pick up, they're always quite good at it. And I mean, they're functional at football, despite it being their 4th most popular sport. Um, so I mean, they could. I'll put them third because normally they're kind of a shoe in for the knockout stages. Um, I'd love to troll them again after what happened last time. But I ate humble pie with that, and they actually almost took Argentina to extra time as well in the
Yeah.
round of 16. Obviously, Lissandro Martinez did some heroics, and obviously Messi. I mean, that goal was fantastic. Um, but yeah, I think I'll go USA, Turkey, Australia, Paraguay. Would not surprise me if I get all four of those wrong. Um, and it would not surprise me if Paraguay won the group. It wouldn't surprise me if Australia won the group. Wouldn't surprise me if USA go out in the group. Wouldn't surprise me if Turkey go out in the group. Um, yeah, I think that's a really hard one to call.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Ralph, what have you got for that group?
Yeah, pretty much all the same there. Very much the same feeling. I've got the USA topping that just because of home advantage, and yeah, Paraguay bottom, Australia, Turkey. Well, Turkey, Australia, should I say? Yeah, I don't know. So we always say this about Turkey, don't we? They're going to be the dark horse, and it's been shit.
Yeah.
So just never bank on them ever again. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So many teams in this World Cup, man. Group E, they got Germany, Curacao, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Now, this is like potentially a
It's group of
no.
death.
It's this and the next group, a potentially group of deaths if there are one. Now, Germany have flat to deceive at so many tournaments since obviously winning the World Cup in 2014. But I do have them top. The more I'm thinking about it, I don't know. I don't know. I think
I don't.
you mentioned in the group chat a few weeks ago Ecuador, and they've got one of the better defenses at the tournament. I think of Pacho, Hincapié,
Estepinian,
yeah,
Ordonez as well at Club Bruges, the right back.
yeah,
So they're all of those guys are playing Champions League football or European football.
and they've got Caicedo as well in front of them.
Caicedo,
That's
yeah.
solid base. So and then Ivory Coast as well, just come off beating France. I mean, they've always got attacking talent. But I've got Germany coming top. I've got. I'm gonna change it to Ecuador coming. No, we'll stick with Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast coming second, Ecuador third. But I think they will qualify as one of the better third place teams. And Curacao at fourth. Ralph, I'll come to you on that group. I mean, you're the man with the surprises so far, and I feel like you might have one for this group as well.
Ivory Coast topping this one. Or Cote d'Ivoire. I don't know. I maybe I just like Diallo so much. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But yeah, it's just a case of I think it's one of them groups where it literally could go with those three teams. I think they are very evenly matched in terms of I think Germany have got the most quality on the pitch in terms of all the different areas, but they just like you say flatter to deceive in tournaments. And again, I think going in attacking areas probably a little bit lackluster. I think Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast will absolutely go for it. I think they've got very tenacious players, very pacey team that are going to cause you a lot of transitional problems. That may not be the most clinical team on the planet, but definitely cause a lot of problems, and anything can happen in tournament football. I think, as you mentioned, Ecuador have got a very good side as well, who again will cause a lot of problems. I think Curacao are a bit unlucky there. They have got probably anything can
Bless
happen at
you.
a tournament, as you mentioned. That it can happen, but it's just unlikely that's going to be the case. So I do have them bottom, but those three teams, honestly, I think that could go any way. And in a one-off game, I can see Ivory Coast putting off a crazy win against Germany if they're not up to it. I mean, Germany have got to rely on Havertz up front. Big game player, but Havertz in the course of 90 minutes isn't actually that fantastic for me. But I think definitely could go any way. I would not be surprised if Ecuador top that group because they do have quality and they have shown that they can produce on the big stage as well. So yeah, very very tight group. But I've got Ivory Coast just as a bit of a mad thing. I need to kill myself there. But yeah, so that's my Cote d'Ivoire, Germany, Ecuador, Curacao for me.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah.
Louis.
I've got unsurprisingly Ecuador as number one. Second in CONMEBOL qualifying, finished above Brazil, finished above Uruguay, finished above the big South American powerhouses. only topped by Argentina, who are obviously the dominant force in Latin American football and football globally at the moment. We've already mentioned. I mean, that back four composition is fantastic. They've got Estepinian and Hincapié, Pacho, and Ordonez, all playing European football, screened by Moises Caicedo, who, look, people who watch the podcast know, not the hugest fan of Caicedo, but he's clearly a very, very good player. I mean, he plays for Chelsea and he plays in the Premier League, so he's really good. I think for me, this could go any of them three teams: Ecuador, Germany, Cote d'Ivoire, Curacao. But Ecuador, Germany, Cote d'Ivoire. But I have Ecuador number one, Germany number two, Cote d'Ivoire number three. Although I am really, really, really excited to watch Diamande, Boni, and Amad Diallo as a front three. I think again we talk about England's balance. I think that's a really fantastically balanced front three as well. Boni has switched over from France to Cote d'Ivoire. And that when I watched them in AFCON, they really lacked a striker. They had electric wingers, and I think Ahmad's such a smart player, and Diamande's so raw from what I've seen. I think this is going to be his breakthrough tournament and probably breakthrough season. I know he's had his breakthrough season with Leipzig, but I mean in terms of the world stage. So also Curacao, again, another great story. The smallest nation ever to play at the World Cup actually isn't a nation. Technically, they are an overseas government of the Netherlands. And they also have 25 players born in the Netherlands. Can anyone guess their one player born in Curacao?
And Dutch player. Wait, Curacao
Oh,
player born in the Netherlands.
yeah. So they have 25 players born in the Netherlands and only one born in Curacao. And that man is Tahith Chong.
Oh yeah, I did see that somewhere.
Yeah. Which is really interesting. They actually have more players born in the Netherlands in their team than the Netherlands.
Wow.
So there's a fun fact for you.
Yeah. Man. You know what? I'm just looking at Ivory Coast's team, and I mean, even their defense, they've got Diamande for Sporting, who came,
Kostasunu as well.
yeah, he played one of the passes of the season against Arsenal. And you still got Frank Kessié in midfield. He's 29, playing in Saudi, and Sangare as well, who's obviously part of a very solid midfield in Forest. So yeah, I mean that is some group. To be honest, I think the more I think about it, the less I'm sure about Germany, and I think I will probably put. I might go with you, Rafa. I might put Cote d'Ivoire first, Ecuador second, Germany third, and Curacao fourth. I mean, if I think about the German players, who's on form in that team, Havertz, Bailey, Voltamada. Then again, you've got Voltamada, who's such a unique player in that group. But yeah, that's my group rearranged for that one.
Yeah, they just have so many of the same player as well with Wirtz, Voltemada, Havertz. They all kind of number tens, forwards, not really defined positions. I don't think the composition's great there.
Yeah, we'll miss Tony Kroos, his ball
Yeah.
vulnerability. Group F. This is the group of death for me. Very hard one to call. The Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. Now, I do have Netherlands top because I feel like Netherlands do usually take care of the teams who, let's say, on the heritage level, aren't as big as them in World Cups. I think when it comes to playing the bigger teams, they do have this sort of mental block. I mean, we saw it against Argentina in the last World Cup. We've seen it against Argentina in so many World Cups, to be fair. I remember 2014 World Cup, Argentina knocked them out as well in pens. And then between 2 and 3, I've got Japan at 2, just a very well-oiled national team. Very surprising that Matoma's not going. I mean, that one there, I do not understand. I know he might not have had the best season for Brighton, but that one there I do not understand. But they're one of the few national teams that do play like a club side. Number 3, I've got Sweden, but you never know what Sweden can turn up. I mean, Victor Gyökeres has been in good form for them, and obviously has come up with a few moments here and there for Arsenal. But also Isak scored a brilliant goal the other day for them. However, apart from those two, I think their team's pretty poor, to be honest. And then I've got Tunisia at 4th. So yeah, Ralph, what do you have for that group F?
I've got Japan top in that group. I've then got Sweden, and then I've got Netherlands again as my Bumba. So that's yeah. I think Japan are actually a side that people forget are very good. I mean, they beat us the other day, quite convincingly as well. They've beaten Germany in tournaments before. Like they've been their bogey team for many years. And yeah, you're very much right. They do play like they're playing in club football. They're very attacking, very cohesive as well. They're very well drilled. A hard team to break down and to beat on their day. Do I think the Netherlands have got that in them this time around? I'm not convinced by them. I don't think. They were poor in the Euros. I know that since then, I think Koeman is not a great coach anymore. I'm not really convinced by him being in that tournament again. They've defensively, yeah, they are solid, and I think they will be defensively okay. But I just think that if you go at Netherlands and you give them enough trouble, Van Dijk has got bozo moments in him, as you've seen this year. There are players there that have definitely got bozo moments. Yeah, they will definitely do well. I think that they may go through. I've looked for Sweden as an outside shout, just as a thing, like I said, in the one-off game. I think that'll be a tight one. Japan, I just don't see losing to Netherlands. Unfortunately, I don't see them losing to anyone in that group, really. Just based on their recent form and also what they can do in tournaments, what they've shown before. So Sweden, Netherlands can be interchangeable, but I'm just not convinced by Netherlands. And as you said, Gyökeres and Isak are in good form, and they play really well for them as well. Elanga plays pretty well for Sweden too. Players to watch out. Maybe not the best defensively in the world, but as long as you can attack in tournament football, you should be okay a lot of the time. If you can score goals, that's just going to be important. They're not terrible. They've got Lindelof and things like that, so they're okay. But yeah, I think that's my scary one is Netherlands not doing as well as people may think either going forward. I'm not too convinced by them.
Plausible, can't lie. Louis, what have you got for that group?
I've got Netherlands. Completely agree with you, Dodgy. I think normally Netherlands teams that are lesser than them in terms of heritage and quality, they normally do quite well against. It tends to be when they play the Frances, the Spains. I mean, we've seen in the Euros the Englands of the world. Japan again, echo your guys' thoughts. Really, really solid team. Really, really physical. I don't know what's happened to Ralph. Really, really physical. Really, really fast. So I think they'll come second. Sweden, I don't even know how they're in this World Cup, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
They didn't win a single game in qualifying, got some absolute cheese with the Nations League, managed to get into the qualifiers. Graham Potter came in as manager, and they just turned into they turned into a side who, I mean, they have quality. They have obviously Gyökeres, Isak, Bergval. I think they come third. And then Tunisia, again, a team that are always pretty solid, always pretty hard to beat. I think you could see them, again, not losing many games by more than one goal. Maybe nicking a 0-0 draw, a 1-1 draw here and there from a couple of these teams. But I think for me, it's pretty straightforward. Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia with that group.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Group G, Belgium's group with Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. This is a terrible group. I'm sorry, it's a really bad group. There's nothing outside of Belgium I'm really looking forward to. Salah in 2026, no.
We need a rank in that group for the sake of the tournament.
Honestly,
just cause the biggest the team that wasn't even allowed to go to America is just
I mean,
that'd be so funny.
Their circumstances are just ridiculous, having to travel in and out. That's so bad. But yeah, I've got Belgium to come top. Belgium, like Netherlands, do take care of as they are supposed to take care of. This is the last stretch of Belgium. I swear, I said it was last World Cup, but I think this is the last stretch of Belgium because their defense on paper is it's bleeding. However, they do have Jeremy Doku, who's been one of the best wingers in the world this season. They've still got Kevin De Bruyne, and I mean, Trossard's been solid, but let's see if Lukaku's going to turn up for them this World Cup. Egypt. Egypt, I've got a second. You know, Salah factor. I'm sure Salah will get a few penalties. Iran, I've got Iran at third and New Zealand at fourth.
Yeah.
What have you got for that group?
Yeah, I've got it the exact same order. Just a point on Belgium. I agree. I kind of feel like this is the last run. Pardon me, but I actually like the composition of their front five with Anana, Tielemans, Doku, De Bruyne, Trossard, and then one of Di Ketelere or Lukaku. But I think clear winners of this group. I could see them 7 points. Egypt, I mean, this is just a nothing burger, these other three teams, but I think they have the quality of Salah and Marmoush to bring them through into second. I think a lot of these I think Egypt, New Zealand, Iran, New Zealand are going to be the most boring games in the tournament because all three of these teams are just going to stink it out. I mean, does anyone remember that last World Cup, the Iran throwing guy? when he did, when he did
Oh,
that, he did that flip.
yeah.
That was the best thing they did all tournament, I think. But yeah, I mean, I've got them third. They might sneak into the knockout simply just by beating New Zealand and maybe drawing against Egypt. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, New Zealand, bless them. They qualify every time and never do anything. I think the only time they've ever done anything of significance is when they drew with Italy in 2010 to knock Italy out of the tournament as holders.
I think in 2010, I think they were the only unbeaten team in that World Cup, which is quite funny. They
They
yeah,
were. They
drew
were.
with Italy, drew with Slovakia, and I forgot the other team that was there. But yeah, New Zealand. I mean, Chris Woods, they've got him. But yeah,
And they've got that Payne guy now as well. Have you guys seen about this?
Yeah.
no.
So he was the least followed player at the World Cup, and some influencer basically said, "Let's make this guy famous." And he's now got more followers than New Zealand have population.
Fair play. Yeah, if that translates to the pitch.
He had like 20K followers before this guy shouted him out. I know Gal with more followers than him. Poor guy, man.
That's so funny. Ralph, what you got for that group?
Yeah, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand for me.
Yeah.
Pretty dead group, man. But yeah, it's just I think the top two speak for themselves, and the other two are just there, innit? just there as placeholders, bro.
This next group's dead as well, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one
not
is
exciting.
Spain, Uruguay, and then the rest of it is just whatever you want to do with that. It's up to you, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah,
surprises there.
Spain 1, Uruguay 2, Cape Verde 3, Saudi Arabia 4th. Yeah.
Man. Shout out Cape Verde. I will be there for England's first game and Cape Verde's first game.
Wow.
So I really hope they do well. I mean, again, a tiny country. Not really known for. I don't want to disrespect them, but not really known for anything, let alone football. I really hope they do it. I mean, it was a great story. Don't know any of their players. I think there was one Donny who used to play for Sporting Lisbon. I can't remember his name. He's a winger. That's the only guy I know. I think Spain, Uruguay. I do unfortunately think Saudi above Cape Verde, simply just because Saudi have players who have played at this level before, and Cape Verde haven't. But I mean, again, who really cares about either of those two teams? No disrespect to either country. Sure, they're both great countries, but they're not going to do anything. So
Yeah. Sadly, have to agree. And then Ralph, what have you got for that group?
Yeah, so it's a similar story. Yeah, Cape Verde, I think will be slightly better than Saudi. But then, to be fair, Saudi didn't they draw or beat Argentina in the first game in the World
beat
Cup last
Argentina,
year?
yeah.
Beat Argentina, so potentially that could be, you know, if they carry on playing like that. I mean, it's Cape Verde, so you know what? If you turn up and put 11 man on the pitch, you got a chance. So yeah, just go for it, no matter what that is. But yeah, Spain, Uruguay first is the main bit of that, and then yeah, that's me for that.
I genuinely think you would struggle to find anyone in America who can point Cape Verde on a map.
To be fair, even in the UK, you'd probably struggle
That's,
for a lot of
Yeah,
moments.
true, true,
Yeah.
true.
let's see. Let's see. Anyone on TikTok from America try and point out Cape Verde on the
Yeah,
map.
probably that Eric guy. Oh no, he's Canadian, isn't he? So
Yeah. All right, Group I. This is a crazy group. This is one of the best groups. France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. This is such a tough group because France have the best team, Norway have arguably the best striker, Senegal African champions. Yeah, and obviously shout out Iraq. So this group, I've got. There is such a tendency, there's such a feeling to not put France first. But then when I don't put France first, I start to think maybe France come third. But no, I think France will top this group. I really think the Michael Olise factor is big, man. When I watch him, I'm just like, that's a player I can see dragging them. I can see Mbappe having an off day. I can see Dembele having an off day. But in this group, I can see Olise shining. And then second and third, let's go with Norway at second, Senegal at third, Iraq fourth. Norway and Senegal so tough. I just think Haaland's first World Cup. I think he's a cheat code potentially. Even though he's kind of fell off towards the latter part of the end of the season, I think defenses late are going to be stretched, tired, runs in behind. I think he's going to get in. Yeah, Lou, what have you got for Group I?
it's funny that you said, "Oh, I can't." I'm tempted to not put France first, but if I don't put France first, I kind of see them coming third.
Yeah.
I've put, and I'll give you some context behind this. So I'll start in fourth. Bless them. God bless their heart. Iraq, another country that's been through so much. Another country playing, I think, their first World Cup, or at least one the tons and tons of years. Shout out Ali Al Hamidi for Luton. He's absolute dog shit, but I hope he does well. Hope he does well at the World Cup. Um, and then I've got France in third. Unfortunately, I think they will still qualify simply because of the bullshit qualification rules about the eighth third place teams. I think I could just see them beating Iraq 4-0 and going through because of that. And then I've got Norway second because the quality they have, particularly Haaland. And I have Senegal first. I think Senegal will be really, really fired up from AFCON. And also, I was in Senegal recently, as you both know. They hate the French. They absolutely hate them. I mean, I understand why, but they cannot. Every Senegalese person I spoke to in Senegal absolutely fucking hated the French. So I can see Senegal going out there and beating France, and it being a massive, massive thing. And then yeah, unfortunately, I still think the French go through as the third place team, but we're due a French national team implosion. It's been far too long. They have a tendency, much like England, for everything to explode very, very quickly for no apparent reason. So I can see that happening, and I can see there being an inquest. Unfortunately, I still do think they go deep into the tournament because I think they will sort themselves out in the knockouts. But it really wouldn't surprise me if they come obviously first, but it wouldn't surprise me if they come third. And actually, it wouldn't surprise me if they give have a really really dire game against Iraq as well and probably only win by a couple of goals. But
Yeah.
I mean, my heart tells me they go through by whooping Iraq 4-0 and then maybe picking up a draw in one of the other games. But yeah, I've got them third, and I think that's my hot take. That I don't think France are going to do anywhere near as well as anyone thinks they will. I just think there's too many attackers, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of players who, would rather do the beautiful side of the game, the attacking side of the game, than the defensive side of the game. You already see Dembele telling Mbappe, you're gonna have to work hard. Dembele thinks he's the big boss now. I mean, rightfully so. He's Mr. Champions League at this point. But yeah,
And
you're right.
Olise
Yeah,
and Cherky and Doué.
Yeah, they've got a lot of attackers.
And I
It's
mean, they've got Rabiot as a DEI hire, and he's absolute crap. Although he has actually been all right for Milan this year.
yeah,
Um,
the midfield is not exciting for France.
no,
Kante.
it's not.
Ralph, what are you saying for Group I?
Yeah, I mean, I've got I'm not. I think France is going to win that group. I hear what you're saying about the implosion and they are, but I just think when you've got that quality, like even if Mbappe has a bad game, you've still got so many men who are just going to be able to slap it. Shirky for me is probably their scariest player in the final third in terms of like if you need a goal, he's the guy that's just going to be able to pull something out of the hat. Him in around the box, especially when you've got teams that are going to sit back against France and try and crowd them out a little bit. Turkey, for me, is shown time and time again, even in the friendly day that they've played recently, it's been a guy to unlock it a little bit. And he's shown that all season as well. So I think he's a player to watch for France. I think he'll have a very good impact. Um, Kante hates Mbappe apparently, which I don't know. So he fully won't play. Bless him.
They hate anyone.
Yeah, how he's fallen out the nicest guy in football? That's definitely an Mbappe problem. But we've all, Mbappe isn't a dictator anyway, and he loves the Lakers, so it is what it is. But yeah, I think France are going to win that group. I think Senegal second, Norway third. I think Norway have got Haaland, but from what I've seen, I mean, did they draw with Morocco the other day? I think it was, or was it them, or who did they draw with? I can't remember. But, they're not. Yeah, in qualifying they've done well, and Haaland scored a lot of goals. But I think first tournament. I'm not that convinced by them in general. I think they're potentially good side, but they're not quite Denmark for me. So yeah, I know Denmark aren't there, but it's just a case of I think they are going to struggle probably just to acclimatise to that, especially in those bigger games against Senegal and France. So I think you're going to really go at them. They've got a lot of pace, a lot of attacking players that are going to really cause Norway a lot of problems. So yeah, I think for me. Yeah, it's going to be quite strict, France, Senegal, Norway, and then obviously shout on my pairs, So that's quite straightforward for me. I think no surprises there.
Fair play. Move on to Group J. Um, Not the most exciting group as well. This one: Argentina, Algeria, Austria, Jordan. I've got Argentina first. I think, yeah, they've got a great chemistry as a national side. Have won all their last three tournaments, I think. So Copa America twice and the World Cup. Austria, I've got them a second. Austria, again, a really good national side, just probably lacking that bit of quality. They've kind of freed themselves from the shackles of, David Alaba FC, and they're actually a bit more well-rounded team. They've got Chukwuemeka now. They beat my boys Ghana 5-1, I think, in the last international friendlies. I mean, that one there, I saw that, I was like, okay, fair play, Austria. It's a team to look at. Algeria got them at third. Still got the Red Maras there. And Jordan, this must be Jordan's first World Cup. I've got them at fourth.
Yeah,
Yeah, Cole.
I've got the exact same order. Shout out Jordan. It's where Jesus was baptized. Shout out them. but yeah, I've got the three A's: Argentina, Austria, Algeria. I mean, I don't think Algeria are a great side, but they're better than Jordan. I mean, Argentina should be clear winners of this group, and then Austria are always just there in these tournaments. Kind of like they're in the same vein as Switzerland and Czechia, and usually Denmark as well. They're usually just there.
Yeah, literally. Just a solid national team. Is Ralph Ragnick their coach?
Ralph Rangnick's to their coach, yeah, the professor of football.
Surgery and that. Shout all the Ralphs in the world, man. Shout out Lies as well, flipping Algeria. Is Mario still kicking about for them? Is he still? Was
Yeah,
he
he's their
been picked?
captain.
Is he? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
brother. He's never letting that go, is he? Fair enough. But yeah, that's Algeria. They're good enough. They've got Zidane, didn't they, in goal?
Yeah, we should see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so they're just a side that probably will just be third. Eight Nori as well. I think they've got.
Our
So they've got enough quality, I think, to probably do okay. But yeah, I think yeah, Ralph Rangnick and Argentina are gonna boss that group, unfortunately.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah, I
unfortunately.
mean, Algeria, Morocco. Normally, the technical level of the North African teams is decent.
Hmm.
Especially Algeria, they always produce these kind of even the diaspora that live in France. They always produce these kind of techie footballers. So I think they'll just skill gap Jordan, and then it will be really close against Austria. And you'd expect 3 wins from 3 for Argentina.
Yeah, definitely. Group K now. Portugal. You got Portugal, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Uzbekistan at their first World Cup, and Colombia. Again, very predictable group on paper, and I'm gonna go with the bait choice of Portugal first, Colombia second, Congo third, and Uzbekistan at fourth. Um, yeah, Louis, what have you got for Group K?
Yeah, exact same order. Portugal, Colombia, Dr. Congo, and then Uzbekistan managed by Cannavaro. Shout out him,
Yes.
which is a really interesting one. And they obviously have Kusanov, who is really good for City, and then they have Shimarodov, who used to play for um, for Roma. One of those really interesting countries that you don't really hear. It's a massive, huge country, but you don't really ever hear or meet anyone from Uzbekistan. I quite want to go there actually, just because of the fact that it's so big, and I've never met anyone from there, despite living in proximity of London. Um, anyway, yeah, I think that's how the group will go.
Yeah, quite a bit one. I mean, Ralph, what have you got for Group K?
Yeah, no surprises again. Portugal, Colombia, DR, and Uzbeki. I think Uzbekistan and DR Congo can be interchangeable there, but again, I think considering that DR Congo have taken the longest route to these games, it's probably I'm not 100% sure on them. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So there you go. That's the spider. Let's see how he fares. He's a good defender, and he might cause a few men a few problems. But you might need to fair probably lock up Liao because Liao is shocking. And certain man ain't got it like that. But yeah, I think that would be a very straightforward group again. Pretty obvious one, I think.
Yeah, I could see it being a pretty boring group. I don't know. I don't expect a lot of goals there, but let's see. Group L, the group with so much interest with us. We've got England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Now, this is a tough one. I mean, on paper, yeah, England do qualify. I just feel like they've got a banana skin against Ghana in the Dodzi rivalry. England against Ghana. I don't know. I just feel like Ghana got something there. That's going to be a crazy game. June 23rd. I'm really looking forward to it. 10 p.m. Um, yeah, massive game in England with obviously so many English-born Ghanaians in this country. Uh,
Hmm.
we've got Croatia as well. England versus Croatia. I mean, that's becoming a bit of a regular thing now at tournaments. England have got their get back on them since the 2018 World Cup with wins in the Nations League and also a win at Euro 2021. And then England against Panama. I mean, I remember England had an amazing 6-1 win against Panama. I mean, the game was, the goals were pretty crap, but I just remember that being like, the first England game I can remember at a World Cup where England have just, that might be the first comfortable England game at a World Cup, genuinely, that I can remember England Panama
Yeah,
with that game.
same.
So yeah, I've got England first. Ghana to come second, despite Ghana not making AFCON, despite Ghana not having a classic team. I just feel like at World Cups, I don't know what it is, but Ghana do turn up. I've never seen Ghana stink out a World Cup before. Um, always giving the big teams a game for their money. Got Semenyo, who's been in great form this season. Shame about Kudus. You've still got number 5 there in midfield. There's tools. There's definitely tools there. I think Croatia. I said this last World Cup and they got semis, but I just feel like it's kind of the end of an era for them. Modric still kicking about. He can play till he's probably 60. but I don't know. This World Cup, them in USA and Croatia, I don't think that combo meshes. And Panama, I've got them to come last. Ralph, what do you have for the home nations group?
Is that your man's with all them charges of allegations? Yeah, I've got still kicking about. Fair enough. Cool. So yeah, I've got England first. Yeah, I think Ghana second. I think Ghana. Yeah, you're very much right. In tournament football, they've always done well, but they've been unlucky in tournaments. I think, especially when you talk about um the whole Suarez situation a few years back, and obviously the penalty miss Asamoah Gyan. So I think they've got heritage in the competition. Good side still, even though they didn't qualify for AFCON. I think they do actually have a good side. And yeah, I think Croatia are a little bit past it now. They've had, I think what you mentioned earlier about those teams that have kind of like had their run-ins. I think that is that Croatia side, and I think that everyone we fought before. We always say this, they're too old. I think this might be it. I think the fact that Modric's no longer at the top level. I think the fact that you've got still a madly aging squad. Just the legs of Ghana are just going to probably do it for me. I think in that instance. So, and obviously England, I expect us to beat Croatia as we normally do. The business apart from 2018 when it mattered, but that's it. So yeah, I think that's going to be the tail of the tape for me. England, Ghana, Croatia, Panama.
Yeah. Louis, what have you got for Group L?
Um, I've got England top, although just.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the experience of Croatia. I'm gonna go with the unction. Um,
Yeah.
I do think that this is probably their last tournament of any sort of relevance for a while. Although they're clearly a good footballing nation. I mean, they've been producing top players for years, even back in the Yugoslavia days. But yeah, I would say Croatia second, Ghana third. I just think I'm sorry, Doji. I just think the defense and the goalkeeper just aren't up to standard. Particularly when you look at Croatia having Gvardiol and Viskovic at the back. I mean, the levels between that and Ghana's defense. But you're completely right. Ghana have always show up at tournaments, always have a lot of passion, and also I kind of feel like these games. I mean, I mentioned it with Senegal, France. I don't think there's the same level of hatred with Ghana and England, but I kind of feel like when there's that historical connotation there, this is going to be a huge game for Ghana. So a lot of those, particularly the Ghanaian-born players, are going to be really up for it, and even the English-born players, of course. So I can see England drawing that game. Um, but that being said, I do still think Ghana come third and Panama fourth. But I think Ghana will beat Panama, maybe draw against England and sneak into the next round to make us all happy at least.
Yeah, look, it can go either way for Ghana. I mean, I've seen that Salisu is out of the World Cup, which is, a big blow.
It's not good.
Um, and yeah, obviously, yeah, no Kudus factor. So it's just a reliance on, yeah, the strengths going forward for Ghana, which is, Semenyo, Solomala, who, remember that torrid time he gave
Lenny
Lenny,
Euro.
and also, did decent in the minutes he had in the last World Cup as well. But yeah, look, it's not. You still got Baba Rahman playing left back.
Is
Um,
Andre Ayew still kicking up front?
who Inaki Williams? Is it?
No, Andre Ayew is my man still kicking.
Oh, nah, not Andre Ayew, but Jordan Ayew is.
Jordan Ayew, sorry.
Just
Jordan
got
Ayew.
just got relegated from Leicester. So it's genuinely my prediction here is a hope prediction out of
Mhm.
more than anything. But yeah, I still maintain that England game could be a banana skin game. I just think, yeah, don't concede set pieces because I don't think God will do too well on those. So yeah, that's it for the group stages. I think we'll leave it at the group stage, but we will give our outright winning team predictions. Um, I'll go with actually Ralph. I'll go with you, who is winning the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Can't hear you, brother.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. That's so weird.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so I've got Argentina winning it. I know it sounds crazy saying it out loud now again, and probably unlikely now that I've really thought about it. But I just think based on when I did my sort of tree to the final, the games that they could come up in, I can see them winning. And again, we've seen Argentina in finals and how they work. I think they've got a good enough side. They've got the experience there as well. I think France are probably going to falter when it comes down to those bigger games. I think England will do well, but yeah, I think Argentina are going to back. I just have a weird feeling back to back winners. I don't really see, apart from maybe France, anyone who would stop them in that instance. But again, France aren't as convincing. I don't think. I think they're going to have that faltering gene in the big moments.
Fair play. Louis, who is winning the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Go on.
England. England are going to win it. England are going to win finally after 60 years of hurt. I just think in America, Mr. Trump giving us the trophy, it just feels so funny and so right that a German coach wins it in America for England. And I also think we have the in my opinion the most balanced squad across the pitch. And man, it would be if the bracket goes the way I think it could. Man, it would be so good to beat France and then Argentina back to back and then go on and win it. That would be so good, man.
Damn. England, those are some big games, man. Those are big games. And
Yeah,
those are the
with
games, but
historical
yeah,
connotations.
those are the big games I'm always interested to see England playing because, yeah, like I expect England to beat 90% of the sides, but it's just those sides there with the heritage that I don't know. But for me, it's between Spain, France, and England. That's clearly the top three. France, it feels so good to be true. Spain, pretty flawless in terms of the front six players, but the defense, if that defense wins the World Cup, fair play. You know, I think Eric Garcia is going to start for them. Seriously, Eric Garcia can't be a starting centre back winning player. I know we had Lenormand last time out and Laporte, who washed up Laporte, but Eric Garcia, come on, guys, that highlight, I don't know. So that leaves England, right? England, who've got a great, I would say great defense, but solid enough defense and a solid enough midfield. But the attack's good as well. So the winners of the 2026 World Cup will be, I think it will be, I think it'll be, I can't pick. I'm going to go with, shoot me, gun to my head, I'm going to go with England. England to win the World Cup in 2026. But luck is going to have to be on England's side. I think England are going to win by fine margins victory. I just think the style of the Premier League, I'm doing a bit of bias here, but that sort of style is just it's very hard to play against. I think I compare England to Arsenal and yeah, two similar teams. I just think England do have the strike up front that Arsenal don't have. I think if England and Spain play each other, whoever wins that game wins the World Cup. That's what I'll say. But I think from losing to Spain last time out, there'll just be that element of, you know what, it's revenge time. We're gonna right our demons. I think England will do it, and I think a player who's going to be crucial in that, I actually think it is Elliot Anderson, man, because I think Elliot Anderson can do the midfield dictating thing a little bit better than what I've seen England players do in the past. I don't be surprised if Anderson plays to the level of Rice's tournament. Honestly, I think he's just a player he goes into any environment and is just top. I don't see another midfielder in tournament who's as well rounded in a way as Anderson. I mean, even on the half turn, like I think he's top, man. I think that's how crazy. That sounds crazy that he I'm saying England's going to win it, and he's going to be one of the
Nah, I
heroes.
hear you.
I just think he's a player that can go for 120 minutes, and
Pause.
yeah, pause. Yeah, pause. Anderson and Madueke off the bench.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I back it. I back it. I think Anderson's going to be huge. I also think Nico O'Reilly is going to have a fantastic tournament, man. I think he's going to score a couple goals.
Yeah, again,
Well,
just such a unique player.
Yeah.
The team has to play to how we've imagined it, man. If if we go into the tournament with the form we've been playing in the last few games, it can do well. I just don't know if it will do enough to win it. There has to be a rise, I think, and I think there can be. So yeah, England to win. And most disappointing team of the tournament, I will go with Germany. Um, Big name, but I don't think they've got big players at this point. Um, Honestly, when I think of Germany, I think the biggest threat they have is Kai Havertz, and if that is your biggest threat, I know he plays for my team, and some days he looks like our biggest threat. He was in the Champions League final. If that is your biggest threat, then it's tough. It's tough. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go Germany. One of you
I'm
boys,
gonna go. I'm gonna go France.
yeah,
and I'll go Netherlands.
Netherlands. Okay, fair play. Have I missed out anything, or are we good?
No, I think we're good. I think we're good. That was a long one, but
Yeah,
that was good.
Mm.
that was a big one. 2 hours of recording. Um, yeah, please like, share, subscribe, check out for more World Cup content. We're back, and peace out. Take care.